So it seems like it's been forever since we've gotten a patch, but it's finally here, 2.5.0, with changes to TF, Aphelios, Fiora, Burblefish, and so many more cards. But there's a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. All right, so today, first we have a change to everyone's favorite degenerate Bilgewater champion, and that is Twisted Fate. So currently, you need to draw 8 cards to level him up, and what they did is they changed it to make it to where you need to draw 9 cards to leveling up. So the hope is that he doesn't just level up the turn you play him or the turn after, and that the 1 extra card will hopefully make him a little more difficult to level up. There's also a change to pick a card and Twisted Fate's pick a card, so that will also make him a little harder to level. So combine this with the pick a card change that we're going to talk about in a bit. Hopefully he doesn't just level up as soon as you play him, because it's very hard to win when your opponent has a leveled up Twisted Fate on turn like 4. So hopefully this makes him a little harder to level up, a little more in line with power level of other champions, because right now he's just more powerful than everything else out there. So a good change. I don't think a stats nerf would do anything to him because he's already, you know, a 2 health unit. The problem is he levels up so easy, so fast. So hopefully this makes him a little slower to level up and a little more in line with everyone else. Next, we have another champion that a lot of people like to hate, and that's Fiora. So right now, Fiora is another very dominant foe in the meta. Fiora Shin is the primary strong deck at the moment. And so what they did is they changed her and changed her stats a little bit. So instead of a 3-3, she's now a 3-2. And this also goes to her leveled up form. Instead of being a 4-4, she's a 4-3. So they dropped off 1 health, hopefully making her a little easier to kill. Now she's going to die to things like Mystic Shot, easier Thermo Beams, etc., etc. You know how removal works. I don't need to explain that. So hopefully this allows her to not be as strong. So this should lower her power level a little bit. Less health is going to make her, you know, survive less long. That's how nerfs work, and hopefully bring her power level down a little bit. I didn't think she was super degenerate to begin with myself, but I know she feels really bad to lose to. People don't like combos or alternate win cons, and she's kind of both of those wrapped into one. Very strong unit. A lot of times even just playing her for her stats was good enough. So now you need to actually like build around her a little more. So I think it's a good change. People hate Fiora. People hate losing to Fiora, and this should make, you know, her a little easier to deal with, especially at level 1. All right, so let's switch gears and talk about a buff to everyone's least played champion, Jarvan IV. So what they did is they increased his stats from a 5-3 up into a 6-4 at level 1. This makes a lot more sense with him being a 6 cost unit. I think the stats line up a little better. He gets a power and health increase, so he can kill more things, he can survive longer. And this goes obviously into level 2 as well, from a 6-4 to a 7-5. Make him a little more reasonable to play. He doesn't feel as bad to play if you just have to play him without his ability going off. And he makes him a force if you do get to level him up, and he's, you know, challenging with barrier every turn. Yeah, good change. Hopefully this is enough to make him more playable, as he doesn't see a lot of play currently. I've been playing him in that the really cool Katarina Battering Ram Jarvan deck that I don't know if you've seen it a bit, but it's very fun. But Jarvan has always been kind of underwhelming. So hopefully the stats help. I think the power is a big increase, especially because he usually gets barrier at least the first time he's played, and hopefully the rest of the game if you're doing it right. So the power is big. He's able to kill a lot more things in combat. And for a 6 drop, the stats line up a lot better. So hopefully we see more Jarvan IV. The champion's pretty cool. He's just kind of been underwhelming. So we'll see if this is enough to bring old Jarvan IV into the meta. So Demacia is getting a little more love as it would as well. Another underplayed champion, Shyvana, is getting a little bit of a change. So one of my biggest complaints about Shyvana is she's a dragon and doesn't have Fury. Well, they fixed that and they added Fury onto the card. So now Shyvana level 1 has Fury, but they've reduced her power to kind of balance that out a bit. I personally think they could have left her power at 4 and she'd maybe finally be good. I think this just makes her still okay. I'm not sure if adding Fury and then reducing her power is enough to make her played. But I'm glad that she does have Fury. It's so annoying when the dragon doesn't have Fury, because you just think dragons and Fury go hand in hand. And this also, her stat decrease goes to her level 2 as well. So from a 5/5 to a 4/5. I still wish they would have kept her power. It would have made her a great card. I think she would have been an awesome champion. I think maybe she's just still okay. We'll see. We'll see. I want Shyvana to be good. You guys know I love dragons. I'm gonna hang out with my dragon right here every day. So we'll see. I'm both happy that she has Fury, but bummed about the power decrease myself. We'll see if it's enough, but I still think she's probably just okay. And speaking of just okay, we're getting a change to LuLu. Her abysmal stats are going from a 2/3 up to a 3/3. This helps quite a bit since she is a support champion. She has to get into combat, and at a 2/3, she doesn't really trade into anything. So she feels really bad to attack. This buff also goes to her level 2 ability, obviously, going from a 3/4 to a 4/4. I'm still not convinced this is enough to make her good. It definitely makes her a lot better. And for all of you out there who love LuLu, who I know there's a lot of you, for whatever reason, people love LuLu. She's obviously a lot better, getting her stat increase. I mean, this makes her a much better stated champion. 2/3 is just abysmal. 3/3 helps a lot. And, 4/4 is better than a 3/4. Obviously, that's how buffs work. So we'll see. I'm still not convinced that she's good, but this is much better. So hopefully all you LuLu mains out there can rejoice with a little love to your favorite strange-eyed champion. All right, so let's move on to, those are all the champion changes, so let's move on to followers and spells. And I alluded to it before, but pick a card got to change. So now instead of a 3-mana card where you draw 3 cards next round, it is a 2-mana card where you draw 2 cards next round. This should definitely decrease your speed in leveling up Twisted Fate a lot. 1 extra card, 1 less card from this, and then needing him to level up with 1 extra card is big. It's very interesting because now it's easier to play. You might be able to fit it into more aggressive decks because it's only 2 mana, but getting that only 2 cards is definitely a hit to its power level. So I like this change myself. Pick a card is just so much, and it's one of the reasons that Twisted Fate Fizz is such a strong deck, because not only is it super, super aggressive, has very good elusive threats, has a lot of burn, but it has the most card draw of any deck in the game because of pick a card and rummage and all of that. So this definitely should reduce that deck's power level quite a bit without making the card completely useless, but you don't just, slot 3 copies into every Bilgewater deck. This should definitely reduce the power of Twisted Fate, though. Hopefully it's enough to make him not just be the only champion that people play, alongside Aphelios, of course. So yeah, good change. I like it. I give this my stamp of approval. And other troublesome cards, Wiggly Burblefish is also getting a reduction in power, going from a 3/1 to a 2/1. It can still get its mana cost reduced down below to 0. They said in the patch notes they like the ability and the flavor and excitement of making this a free card, free elusive. It's pretty cool. Not having so much power, now it'll be, only a 3/1 when you copy it with your iterative improvement, and a 2/1 baseline makes it a lot more reasonable, a lot less aggressive, and it should be a lot less troublesome. So I'm good with this. I just wanted there to be some kind of change to Wiggly Burblefish. They could have reduced his toughness to 0. I'd be okay with that as well. But Wiggly Burblefish is a really fun card, and playing 0-cost cards is fun. So I'm okay with that. I like this change, and I'm sure if it's still a degenerate issue, they can change it again. But yeah, I like it. Wiggly Burblefish also getting power decrease, so now Twisted Fate Fizz shouldn't be the most powerful, dominant, only deck you should play if you're trying to hit Master, and we can finally have a meta with different decks in it, which makes me happy. Something else I'm very happy about is Dreg Dregers is getting its revert back to a 2/1 from a 1/1. He didn't deserve the 1/1 treatment. Now he's getting back up. Deep has been struggling as an archetype. It's super fun. I love the Deep archetype myself. I think it's a blast to play, but it sucked for lack of a better term. Especially in the Dreg Dregers nerf really hit it hard. Not being able to have early game where you can trade into stuff hit the deck very, very, very hard. So now this gives you more early game options. You can actually trade into things. You can get some damage in. It's great. And the Dreg Dregers now back to being a good 1-drop. And we have another change that a lot of people have been talking about, wanting, myself included, and the Dreadway is getting a change. It's going from a 9 mana 4/8 to an 8 mana 4/6. I have been wanting this to be an 8-cost card for a long time, even before the concurrent timelines shenanigans. 9 mana is just a lot, and the effect is really, really, really cool. I like this a lot, and the stat decrease makes sense for being an 8-cost card with such a powerful effect. But now the concurrent timelines deck that wants to play Ledros into Dreadway doesn't work anymore, because now Dreadway's an 8-cost card, which I love. Concurrent Timelines is one of my favorite cards. I think it's really, really cool. I was sad that it was tied to such a degenerate combo that requires no setup or build around. You just kind of do nothing until turn 9 and win. So now you can't do that anymore, which I'm very happy about, and I really, really, really like this change. I also love the Dreadway, and if you are playing Gangplank decks, maybe this will want you to consider putting it into a deck, because it's not as bad being at 8 mana. We'll see. I think it's still going to end up being more of a combo card, but I love it. I'm super happy with this change. It makes me very, very happy. And now maybe I can play concurrent timelines without people thinking I'm being degenerate, even though I'm not playing the Ledros combos. People are, oh my God, concurrent timelines, that's so degenerate. No, the card's fine. It's just that Ledros Dreadway was stupid. So this is gone. That's gone now. I'm happy. And this is one I am excited about. And more changes that I've been asking for. Shadow Assassin was done dirty, and it made sense at the time because Ionia elusives were strong, but that's not the case anymore because Ionia sucks. So now Shadow Assassin's going from a 3 mana 1/2 to a 3 mana 2/1. Now you can be aggressive with this again. 2/1 stat line is just more exciting to play. A 1/2 is just kind of like meh. So this makes me happy. I dig this a lot. I like Shadow Assassin. It's a card that I always want to put into decks that have Ionia just for more card draw, especially when you're trying to do like Monastery Hirana recall shenanigans, which I like to do. It may not be your cup of tea, but I think it's fun to do. So yeah, going from a 3 mana 1/2 to a 3 mana 2/1 is awesome. I'm very excited for her. Maybe allows us to play more different Ionia aggressive decks again. So we'll see. I like it. I think this is a great change. I've been wanting her stats to be a 2 attack power again for a long time. And we'll see if this is enough to help poor Ionia come back into the meta. So Fey Guide is a card that doesn't really see much play. It is a really, really cool card. Granting elusive is strong, but its stats are absolutely abysmal. So it's going from a 4 mana 3/3 to a 4 mana 3/4. This is obviously a good increase, and it gives you more appeal to just play the card in general, having its stats not be just total poopy. I love Fey Guide. I've played it a bunch in a bunch of weird combo decks. I've played it with like Assembly Bot combo. I've played it with a bunch of weird Lee Sin decks. So now, and with the LuLu buff as well, maybe this is something that you want to play in your interesting LuLu decks. So yeah, it's just a good buff. Doesn't change what the card does, just makes it to where it can actually survive and actually, block and get in and not be worse than Loyal Badger Bear. So we have another card that doesn't make sense stats-wise due to current Shurima cards that have been put out. So Legion Rearguard going from a 3/1 to a 3/2 makes a lot more sense, and now maybe makes this an actual viable card for Noxus aggressive decks. It just seems like there's no real reason for it to be a 3/1, especially right now when Shurima has a 1 mana 3/1 that can block if you wanted to. Imagine blocking in your aggressive decks. But this is a good change. Maybe it makes it playable again. Maybe we see the return of Legion Rearguard in the meta. We'll see, but this I think just needed to change since it just made no sense with current cards that are out right now. So we got some more love going to deep. So Sea Scarab's going from a 2 mana 1/2 to a 2 mana 2/3. This helps a lot. It keeps it alive longer so that you can actually get its ability to work more often. It gives you a viable early drop in deep archetypes to where you can actually attack and block with it. And now also if you hit it off things like the Slaughter Docks, it doesn't feel as bad, or if you get it from random sea monsters from the Jawl Hunters, things like that. So this, I really like this change a lot. The Sea Scarab is super cool. It's a card that I was really excited for when it came out, but its stats were pretty poop. So I'm excited for this. I really like it, and hopefully now with this and Dreg Dregers buffs, we can see more deep decks coming into the meta, because it's been it's almost close to fringe playable. So now maybe it's just going to be actually playable. So we have a couple Shurima buffs to talk about. The Esteemed Hierophant is getting a buff. So now when it's summoned, advance your Buried Sun Disc from 2 rounds is going to 3 rounds. This helps you in Sun Disc decks. That's hard to say. Sun Disc decks. Sun Disc decks. Anyways, so it might make it as a viable choice for playing if you want to, aggressively advance your Sun Disc. And who knows, in the future, if we get more Sun Disc support, this could be a big change. But yeah, it's just a buff. It's not super complicated. It's just going from 2 rounds to 3 rounds, so you get 1 round quicker. And also a card that I forgot existed and I had to look up because when I saw the patch notes, I was like, what even is this card? Callous Bonecrusher is going from a 4-mana 6/3 to a 4-mana 6/4. This helps a lot. It makes the card a lot more viable, as 6/3 is kind of like, 6/4 is better. They stated in the patch notes this is mostly for expedition play, but potentially you could put it into your regular decks as well. I don't see this being a staple card anywhere because it's still pretty vanilla, but helps a lot. And if you are an expedition player, this is a lot more of a tasty choice. So let's talk about some changes that actually matter. So the moon weapons are getting a change from being 2-mana spells to being 3-mana spells. This is a very big deal for Aphelios. The extra mana that you have to sink into him now, basically every turn to get these effects, is a pretty big deal. It's a big increase going from 2 to 3, and it makes it to where you can't play him as early as well and get the effect. So this is a pretty big change to Aphelios. Aphelios, I think, is still currently the most played champion with also the highest win rate, I think, if you're looking at just raw stats. So between him and TF, because they're both pretty good. This, I think, is a big change. It also just makes it feel a lot better. The moon weapons at 2 just feel really bad to lose to when they can play so many at a turn, especially since Veiled Temple is getting played so much and Veiled Temple refunds 2 mana. It basically makes them free. So now you have to actually sink mana into them. So I think it's a big change. Should lower the power of Aphelios quite a bit. And this is with all of the weapons, not just Calibrum. I just didn't want to make an image slide for every single moon weapon because there's too many of them, and I'm lazy. And to go along with that, they changed the Gifts from Beyond. So since now the moon weapons are 3 mana instead of 2, they lowered the mana of this card from 2 to 1 so that you're still paying the same mana cost across the board. You're still paying 4 mana total for the effect, which I think makes sense. Gifts from Beyond isn't like something that's generating infinite value like Aphelios is, so I think this is totally fine. I think it's kind of cool too because 1 mana spells are powerful, and I like that a lot, and you can play it earlier if you want to, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You can also, this is now an easier Temple activator because the Temple is also getting a change. It's getting a bit of a nerf as well. So I like this. I think this is totally fine. And let's just talk about the Temple as well. So Temple is getting a nerf from making your dudes, your strongest ally a +1/+1. Now it makes your strongest ally a +1/+0. So they removed the health component of this, making it to where you don't just get infinitely large dudes who can never die in combat because they get infinite health. Infinite is obviously a joke, but it's still doing the refill 2 mana thing. It's still making them stronger. So it's still a cool card that has a cool effect, but now isn't just slam it into every single Targon deck and never lose a game. So I'm happy with this change. Veiled Temple was another problem card that was kind of really felt bad to lose to. It was a bit of a problem card. So I dig this. I think it's a good change, and I am happy with it. So those are all the changes. There were a lot of them, I know, but I'm happy we got, you know, some tuning to Twisted Fate, the TF Fizz deck, Aphelios, Fiora, Burblefish. We got some love to Jarvan. So there's a lot of good stuff with this patch. I really, really like it. I think they hit all of the things that I've been annoyed with, like Ledros, Dreadway, Twisted Fate, Aphelios. So I'm pretty stoked about it. I think this will definitely shake up the meta quite a bit, which makes me happy. Maybe we can see, you know, decks like Kindred Nasus, you know, interesting things like that be more meta. Maybe we can see Jarvan get played, LuLu, I guess. So I'm excited. What do you think? If you want to see the entire patch notes, go ahead and click the thing. There's a link in the description where you can click that. But what do you think of the patch? Are you excited about the changes? Were there cards you wanted to see changed that didn't get to see changed? Are you unhappy with how they changed it? Are you a dirty Twisted Fate main who's very upset because now you have to work a little harder to make him leveled? Let me know. I love having conversations with you all, so put it in the comments what you think. Let me know if you think I'm doing a good job. I don't know, all that stuff. But that's all I got for you. I really appreciate it. If you want to come hang out with me on Twitch, I stream now every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and I stream for basically all day, and that's what I do now. So come hang out with me on my Twitch channel, just twitch.tv/Saucy Mailman, and we can hang out live and have a party. But that's all I got. I love you very much. Thanks for all the support, all the love recently. It's been amazing. I care about you greatly. I hope you're having a good day, and until next time, you stay saucy. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe, hit the little bell notification, and help me destroy the YouTube algorithm overlords by leaving a comment and liking this video. I appreciate you very much. You're amazing, and until next time, you stay saucy.